What is up, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show, the #1 Dodgers post-game show here on YouTube. Thanks for rocking with us after the Dodgers lose their second straight to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They've now lost 10 of their last 15 games to the Buccos. They weren't flying the Jolly Dodger in Pittsburgh tonight. It was a rough outing for James Paxton. He suffers his worst loss as a Dodger. It was a blow-up second inning there. He allowed 7 runs in that second inning. The Dodgers had their opportunities to get right back in this one. He had some bad defensive plays, more untimely opportunities. They just couldn't get that timely base hit like they needed to. Had multiple opportunities to get back into this one, but the Dodgers, they fall to the Pittsburgh Pirates by a final score of 10-6. The Dodgers got their first look at Paul Skenes. He was as advertised early on. You saw the electric stuff. You saw him hitting triple digits, hitting 101, and he was really, really good. I mean, the potential is absolutely there to be a future Cy Young winner, to be a future ace. But even having said all that, the Dodgers had their opportunities early in the game, if they had some key base hits, to knock him out of this one early and really find a way to get back in this one. They still fall. They lose 10-6. Second straight loss to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They try to avoid the sweep tomorrow with Walker Buehler on the bump. But my name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Also, let me know where you're representing Dodgers Nation from tonight. And also, give me your biggest takeaway from this series so far. What are your thoughts on the offense? They did show some life tonight, and we'll get into that. James Paxton, they just couldn't overcome that 7-run blow-up inning for James Paxton. The bullpen, for the most part, they did their job, but tacking on those insurance runs there in the 7th inning off of Ryan Yarbrough, that really put this game out of reach. Shohei Ohtani hit his 15th home run of the season. He almost hit another home run late in this one. He flied out to right there in the top of the 8th inning, and that would have been a 3-run shot that would have pulled the Dodgers within a couple of runs there. And yeah, they now to pull the Dodgers within 1 run there and really made this thing extremely, extremely interesting. But this Dodgers team, we have a lot to get into here on this show. We're also going to talk some trades. Luis Robert, a lot of you guys talking about Luis Robert. I'll give you my thoughts on that. Some very interesting nuggets recently from MLB insider Jeff Passan. But hey, good news, your boys in blue still in first place in the National League West, sitting at 38-25, 6.5 games up of the San Diego Padres in the National League West. But you know it, I know it, this team is capable of playing better baseball, playing cleaner baseball. The Dodgers tonight, I wasn't happy with the 2 errors. You had 2 errors by the Dodgers in this one, and that hurts. That hurts, especially when things aren't going your way. When you have the inability to just play clean baseball. You had the fielding error by Teoscar Hernandez in that blow-up 2nd inning that definitely proved to be costly. Then the top of the 4th inning, you had an error there later in the game. And look, that one really doesn't hurt you as much, but of course they did lead to a run. I mean, they tried to pick off Hayes there in this 5th inning, and a little miscommunication between Lux and Banda, and it led to another run. So yeah, the defense wasn't pretty. At-bat quality at times wasn't where you wanted to see it. You did see some live Jason Hayward, Mitch Lotta half full. He put together a really good day. He's looked really solid since he's returned. Jay Hay goes 3 for 4, had 3 doubles tonight. Gavin Lux goes 1 for 4. Andy Pages goes 2 for 4 with a home run. But all in all, this Dodgers team is not playing good baseball. And Ned Colletti used to talk about the presentation is just not there. But let me know down below, what are your comments? What are your takes? What are your thoughts on tonight's loss? Also, be sure to comment Goat Tani down below. If you comment Goat Tani, you increase your chances of winning the Shohei Ohtani gray road jersey. We're going to be announcing them during our live shows, and we're going to make sure the person is claiming it during the live show. So you want to tune into the live streams to be eligible for an authentic road gray Shohei Ohtani jersey. Comment Go Tani down below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. We got Randy Hoffman, a super chat. Appreciate that. Who on this team is going to call a team meeting when Dave is to be put on the hot seat? Yeah, I mean, look, I think this team is not necessarily in team meeting mode. I mean, you're playing 500 ball, around 500 ball in your last 20 games. Things haven't been looking pretty, but still, I think that you want to be an offense that can produce with runners in scoring position. And the pitching obviously let them down, the starting pitching. Rosemary says, I'm depressed, D-Mac. Rosemary, I know it's tough. It's tough when your boys in blue lose. Great thing about baseball, there's a game tomorrow. You can get right back in the win column with the win tomorrow and try to salvage the series. But getting back to just the lack of execution from this Dodgers offense, and we're going to break it down in depth like we always do, but you had the 2 errors. They were led to runs. You had Teoscar, you had the pickoff attempt, miscommunication by Bonda and Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux was kind of giving him the stank face a little bit there. And then you just look at the Dodgers, 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position yesterday, 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight. That means the Dodgers have gone a combined 3 for 21 with runners in scoring possession this series. Runners in scoring position is an issue. They have stranded so much traffic on the base pass. There's been more traffic on the base pass than the 405 freeway at 5 o'clock in rush hour on a Tuesday, okay? 3 for 9 yesterday. No, 3 for 9 today. 0 for 12 yesterday. On the series, a combined 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position. That just isn't going to get it done. The at-bat quality is not consistently where it needs to be for this team to go on a long run where you're winning tons of games and stretches and you're building a cushion in the division. You're making inroads on the Phillies and the Yankees for the best record in the sport, because you look at the last 11 games for the Los Angeles Dodgers, they're now hitting 196, under 200 with runners in scoring position in their last 11 games. And Chris Taylor goes 0 for 4 again. And in the bottom of the lineup, you had production. You had good production from Hayward, Lux, and Pages for the most part. I mean, you had 6 hits right there in 12 at-bats, so hitting 500. But Teoscar Hernandez, another guy, had an opportunity tonight. Will Smith goes 2 for 5. Freddie goes 1 for 5. Good sign tonight to see Shohei Ohtani get back into the home run column. He hits his 15th home run of the year. More comments here. Goat Tani hasn't delivered a World Series chill. That's from Adam818. We got Goat Tani, Matty Man Dodge. I want to trust Hayward. I really do. Just not sure I do for the playoffs. Chilltown All-Star. I don't care if you owe the guy $30 million. If he still sucks, we trying to win here. So you talking about Chris Taylor. And look, there's no denying it. Chris Taylor has struggled, and I mean, he hasn't gotten that many opportunities of late to start, but he just hasn't made the most of them. 0 for 4 tonight with Chris Taylor. You can't tell me that James Outman can't help this team more right now than Chris Taylor. James Outman is raking down in AAA. Yes, AAA pitching, especially in the PCL, is nowhere near the show, but James Outman can put together a string of quality at-bats where you have the threat of slug. You have the threat of going deep. And look, I think there's other guys in this organization that have earned opportunities over CT3 at this point, and yeah, it's a tough watch to see him at the plate. There's just no doubt about it. Taylor's going to find it any day now. It's from Deuce, that Johnny Owen. Maybe we need a sobering 10-game losing streak to bring us back to reality. Snap back to reality. Okay, so look, for sure. And you bring up a good point right there. If you go on a losing streak in the regular season, it isn't the end of the world. The 2017 Dodgers had an 11-game losing streak. They lost 15 out of 16 games that year, and they had one of the best postseason runs we've ever seen. With clutch base hits, they were able to come through, and the only reason why they lost and didn't win the World Series was because of the Houston Trashterisks. If it wasn't for that, they would be World Series champions. So, yes, there's tons of precedent there where you have certain stretches during a season where you struggle, and it happens. So I think the good thing is, Jack, how do we not pitch hit Kike for CT3 in that big moment? Well, Kike, he's had his struggles as well, and he's really, I mean, if you look at his whole team as a whole, they've really had their issues across the board in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think that what they're doing with Chris Taylor is they're giving him, just saying, okay, we want to let him know that we're giving him these opportunities and we're not pinch hitting for him. We're going to play him on consecutive days. We're going to give him enough of a runway so that he says, whenever we make our decision, at the very least, we gave you the opportunity. And look, I don't like that mentality in general because, hey, this is not Little League. You're not giving out participation trophies and orange slices and Capri Suns, right? You just don't do that at this level. But I do think that it's a way of saying, one, can he get out of this slump? He's been mired in a slump the entire season. And two, can he get some consistent at-bats against a team that it's not the World Series, right? It's not a playoff game or anything like that. So I think that the Dodgers want to say, okay, we did everything we could to try to get him back on track. And unfortunately, it just wasn't able to materialize. He was never able to turn the corner. But yeah, I mean, look at this team as a whole, and you bring up Kike Hernandez. I mean, he's been struggling himself, right? He's been struggling, and really, it's tough to kind of cherry pick a certain real kind of stretch where you can say, okay, that's the guy off the bench. Kike, last 9 games, he's 4 for his last 26, and he's hitting 154, a buck 54 in that stretch. So I think for me, I mean, it's kind of really a struggle to see if you have quality off that bench right now. And that's a perfect example. That's why you need to bolster this bench. That's why you need to improve this roster. Here we go. We got some more comments here. Mookie can't hit. That's from B. Guzman. Yeah, it was a rough night for Mookie Betts. There's no doubt about that. Mookie has been struggling. He's been scuffling at the moment. It's tough to argue that, but I will say that there was a spot in the game where I was pretty disgusted by what I saw as far as a call that went against Mookie, and Mookie goes 0 for 4. He goes 0 for 4 tonight, and there was a big strikeout for Mookie that it was clearly off the plate. It was clearly off the plate, and you just really think to yourself, at what point are we getting the robo-umps? At what point are we going to actually fix this thing that should have been fixed years ago? Because it was another situation where you would have seen the Dodgers really in that situation, you would have seen them probably use a challenge. I mean, I'm talking about the top of the 5th inning after Andy Pages, he leads off the inning with a home run to left. By the way, Andy Pages, what I say, you got to have that rookie slump just so we can see if you can get out of that rookie slump. He is way past the rookie slump now, and he's starting to produce. And he provided some life for the Dodgers there in the top of the 5th inning with the home run.
Pages pulls the ball in the air, left field. Reynolds at the wall. It's out of here. The second home run for the Dodgers.
6th blast of the year for Pages, and that's to give him confidence, hitting a home run off of Paul Skenes. But then, following that, Chris Taylor, still very early in the game, he's safe at first on a throwing error by shortstop Gonzalez, and that brings up Mookie Betts. And on a 3-2 count, Mookie Betts, he strikes out on this pitch. I mean, look at this pitch. This is off the plate. This is practically at least a few inches off the plate. You can't justify this. I mean, you see that right there, and it disgusts me. It keeps me up at night. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning in a cold sweat because of calls like this. Because this was a rally kill. How about more spark from Dave Roberts? I mean, how about Dave Roberts going out there and letting him know that that's his $365 million superstar in Mookie Betts that's getting jobbed there on a 101-mile-per-hour fastball that's off the plate. Because he draws that walk there, and the Dodgers, they're starting to cook with tons of outs left in this game to rally and get back into this thing, and then you could start to knock Paul Skenes out of this game, and that would have set up Shohei Ohtani with runners on first and second with 1 out. And what did Ohtani do? He ends up singling. And then you had Freddie Freeman, he struck out looking, but then the next batter, Will Smith, he singled to right, and that ends up loading the bases for Teoscar Hernandez. And first pitch, Teoscar Hernandez, he ends up grounding into a fielder's choice at third to end the inning. So I would have much rather seen Shohei Ohtani at the plate with an opportunity to do damage and see what he can do. And then Will Smith, he was able to produce as well. But Teoscar Hernandez just hasn't been a good couple of days for him at the plate with runners in scoring position. And look, I'm fine with that approach. Look, Corey Seager, we saw he was the first pitch killer, right? If you can do damage on the first pitch, fine. But on the year, on the year, Teoscar Hernandez, he's hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. When it comes to show me something, I need to see more from Teoscar Hernandez at the plate. That's why the RBI stat, get out of your mind. RBI stat is not an indicator of how good someone is with runners in scoring position. It is a stat that's dated at this point. And you look at Teoscar Hernandez on the season with runners in scoring position, he's really starting to struggle and need more out of him. I mean, he's 16 for 80 on the year, hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. Haven't even gotten on to the James Paxton inning, and we're going to talk about what his future holds with this team and just a bad outing. I think he could shake this one off and get back to being productive, but it was not a good evening for James Paxton. But I want to hear what you have to say down below in the comments section. Paxton looked like Lance Lynn today. That's from Adam818. We got Roy Estrada. Throw away your cable and stream. Much cheaper. Waste of time. Okay, we got some Dodgers down bad. The Dodgers Doomers are in the chat. Are we waiting for CT3 to find it in October? Bring Vargas up and sit him for Taylor. Deuce. Exactly. You got Miguel Vargas, who, yes, it's a small sample size, but he's 5 for 13. He has produced in his opportunities. I think that is the next step. I want to see Chris Taylor's at-bats go directly to Miguel Vargas and develop that talent. This is nothing against Chris Taylor personally, but I think that if Miguel Vargas is up, you play him, you option him, or you trade him. He's not supposed to be cold there on the bench because then you hurt his development, right? You need to give him big league at-bats. He needs to face big league pitching, and in the opportunities that he's done that, he has had success. We got Dylan McKay talking about Miguel Vargas. Hepatitis, see you later in the chat. CT3 is an automatic out. By the way, if you haven't commented Ohtani, your chances are getting lower of winning that authentic Shohei Ohtani jersey. And we have some more giveaways we're going to announce pretty soon. At least Kike can make contact. That's from Michael Carrillo. Delirium 9. Paxton is irreparably broken now. Dodgers make any opposing pitcher look like an ace. Nando 390 says fire Dave Roberts. A Richard Flores super chat 199. I live in a world where you can DFA Kike and CT3. Wow, that is a world that would definitely hurt Dodgers fans' feelings. And I mean, I think Kike with his versatility still provides, and CT with his versatility. But yeah, make no mistake about it. Both of them, Kike Hernandez and Chris Taylor, have not performed at the plate to the level that the organization, the fans themselves have expected this season. I mean, I almost think that Chris Taylor and his struggles have been so bad. I mean, he struggled so mightily that it almost masks how bad that Kike Hernandez has been this season. I mean, Kike is hitting 198 with a 57 weighted runs created plus, and then Chris Taylor, it's definitely depressing to read his numbers for sure. But Chris Taylor on the season now after tonight, he ends up going 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout. CT is back to hitting under 100. He is hitting 98, 098. And he has a 2 weighted runs created plus. So he's been 98% below league average on the season. So that's definitely a major concern. But let's get back to the comments here. Lock and Load 67. Is Roberts ever going to go off on an ump with these horrible strike calls? He's just there with a deer in the headlights look on this face. Yeah. D-Mac, why is CT3 starting again? Why is he still on the roster? Don Dino Bravo. Where was Dave Roberts to fight for his team? Nando 390. How about Roberts gets thrown out instead of robo umps? I'm with you. I would have liked to see just a little. Sometimes the football, it's not football, right? Where your coach gives you the big rally speech. Let's win one for the Gipper, and just runs out there through the smoke, and they're all jumping and puffing chest. It's not like that. But sometimes when your team is struggling and your superstar player is getting jobbed, I would have liked to see just at least you go up to the first step. Because, I mean, Paul Skenes was getting both sides of the plate. He was getting both sides of the plate today. And that was off the plate. And it didn't end the inning, but it definitely killed what, in my opinion, would have been a bigger inning. Because you have Ohtani at the plate with 1 out and Mookie on base. He had 2 runners on base there, and then Smith gets a base hit a couple batters after that. Instead, the rally ends with Teoscar Hernandez grounding out the third there. And then we got fire Dave Roberts, strike 3 buddy from Rodolfo Torres, Matty Man Dodge. I'm way more worried about how the Dodgers are playing than the SHT ITTY umps. I like how I spelled that like I was like an adult around a child or something. I apologize, guys. This is a family show. Much planned, but look, I agree. You can't. I'm not even Mr. Blame Ump guy. That's not really what I do because there's nothing to do about it. Robo umps are on the way. It's only a matter of time. We know the conspiracy theory that Angel Hernandez definitely owns the Robo Ump company, and then that's why he's been awful at his job. I mean, he's the Angel Hernandez of his job. I like his compete. That's what hepatitis. See you later. We need a new voice. Scott, yes, it disgusts you, but does it keep you up at night? 4 more stellar at-bats by CT3. Roberts needs to let the ump know he blew the call, put some doubt in the ump's mind. Yeah, it's gamesmanship, right? It makes the ump think about it the next time. And 9 times out of 10, when you make a big stink and you yell obscenities or whatever it may be towards the umpire, good chances next time there's a borderline call, it's going to go your way, right? So that's where the gamesmanship lies there. And the one against Freddie where he struck out looking definitely touched the bottom of the zone. But in that situation, if you're Doc and you make a big stink, maybe you get that call with Freddie. And maybe you get a call that was a strike, but you get the ball call right there. So that's definitely a fair point right there. The disrespect for Muncy is insane. If you ask other teams, yeah, the Dodgers are playing under 500 ball with Max Muncy. They're now 9-10 with him out of the lineup. So, I mean, that's just definitely a glaring hole. He's someone that is a 30-plus home run hitter. He was on pace to hit 36 home runs. But Sosha is free at the moment. I love Teo, but that ain't good enough. Ray Guzman Jr., if you can't hit bunt, maybe Chris Taylor should do that. We saw that really his most memorable play of the season was a bad bunt against the New York Mets that sparked that big comeback right there. But, yeah, I mean, the thing about this game today is you're the big bad Dodgers, right? You're the team that spent $1.2 billion this offseason facing the talk of the league right now in Paul Skenes. And the Dodgers were actually betting underdogs heading into this one. And that should get you up as a team, right? That should say, you know what? We know we struggled last night, and we're facing Paul Skenes. Let's welcome him to the show. Let's welcome him to Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers way. And you saw their stats. You saw how they performed against high-velocity pitching this season. The Dodgers against pitches this year, 97-plus miles per hour more, they're towards the bottom in essentially every single offensive category. That is a very big concern. And for me, I think this is a good opportunity to say, you know what? It's a long season. We know that our success is going to be defined in the postseason, but hey, we're the underdogs going against Paul Skenes. There's going to be more eyeballs on this game. And I mean, I think Shohei Ohtani for sure, who Paul Skenes look up to, and Skenes said after the game that he threw too many heaters to Shohei Ohtani, but still, I mean, I think with Shohei Ohtani, he came to play, and that was evidenced early on when he strikes out on 3 pitches, and then he comes back later, and Shohei Ohtani, he hits a bomb off Paul Skenes.
Big swing from Shohei Ohtani.
And that's when the Dodgers needed some life. I mean, that represented 2 runs early on after they had just given up 7 runs. But the next thing I want to talk about, though, is the performance of James Paxton. James Paxton just didn't have it tonight. It happens. I want you guys to give me your takeaways on James Paxton. Tell me what you think about how he should be used on the Dodgers. For me, I think it's pretty simple with Paxton. I'm going to tell you what I think the Dodgers are going to do with him in a bit here. But you look at the night he had, the struggles were there. And you look at that nightmare second inning where he gives up 7 runs. I think that's when you know you have the bad version of Big Maple, is when the command isn't there. He's letting stuff leak out over the plate. And the walks are the big kicker right there. And the way that things started off, he started the game off with a 0-2 count to Olivares, and then it's a 7-pitch walk. So that gives them a runner there to start things off. Gives up a single to Hayes. He let the knuckle curve a little up, and they go first to third. You got runners on the corners with no outs, and just like that, you're in some big trouble. And then Gonzalez, he ends up doubling to left. That gives the Pirates their first 2 runs of the evening. And you saw during that at-bat, ambushing, right? The Gonzalez double came on the second pitch. The Hayes single came on the first pitch. Clearly, the Pirates had a really good game plan against Paxton. They were saying, look, we need to get to that fastball early. When we're sitting on fastball and he's trying to throw strikes early in counts, he's had command issues this season, we are going to try to beat up his stuff when he's in the zone. And that's what they did early in this one. Next batter, Yasmani passed ball. Check that, Yasmani Grandal. Another first pitch swinging, and he singles to right, scoring Gonzalez to make it 3-0 Pirates. And then it was a hit parade. I mean, Triolo, he singles to left. That gives them runners on first and second. Then Sawinski, he hits a sacrifice to first. Some good small ball there. That was on the first pitch. The runners advance to second and third there. He ends up walking. McCutcheon just could not land that knuckle curve. He was missing glove side with it. He was missing arm side with it. He just could not find the feel for that knuckle curve tonight, and that allowed them to sit on the fastball when they were forced to throw strikes. And then next batter, Brian Reynolds, he singles to center on the first pitch again, and that was a sinker middle. That was his worst pitch of the night as far as command. That scores another run, and that makes it two runs there score, Grandal and Triolo, to make it 5-0 Pirates. Comes back to strike out Joe swinging. That was really his best pitch, that knuckle curve to Joe on the inner half on the inside corner. And then you think, okay, can we stop the bleeding? But no, Olivares, he singled to right. That scored McCutcheon, made it 6-0 Pirates. And then Ramirez, he comes in. Olivares, he steals second. And then Reynolds score on a pass ball there by Will Smith. So that's the errors, the pass balls, just not clean, crisp baseball from this Dodgers team. And they end up giving 7 runs on 6 hits and an error there. And that pretty much was the game. I mean, Ohtani ends up coming back, gets a 2-run shot after a Pages leadoff single there in the third. That made it 7-2. Dodgers within 5, still very early on in that game. And how about this? Top of the 5th inning, Andy Pages, he takes Paul Skenes deep.
Pages pulls the ball in the air, left field. Reynolds at the wall. It's out of here.
That makes it 7-3, and you're starting to cook offensively. Fortunately, Dodgers, they couldn't capitalize. We broke down that inning there. That's where Teoscar Hernandez, he ground into a fielder's choice there at third to end the inning. And then bottom of the 5th inning, Gonzalez, he hits a sacrifice fly to right. That scored Olivares. They go up 8-3. Then top of the 6th inning, Jason Hayward gets a double to right to start the inning. A couple batters later, he scores after Gavin Lux grounded out to short, and that made it 8-4. So you're still in this one. You're still feeling okay. And at top of the 7th, the Dodgers added another run after a Will Smith single to right. That scored Freddie Freeman. And really what killed the Dodgers there was that 7th inning where Ryan Yarbrough gave the 2 runs on the 2 hits. And he ends up walking Joe with 1 out. Then he walked Olivares. So back-to-back 1-out walks. And then he gave up the single to Hayes. That scored Joe to make it 9-5. And then he gave up a single on the first pitch to Gonzalez to make it 10-5. And Dodgers trying to fight back there in the 8th after a Jason Hayward double. Gavin Lux single to center to make it 10-6. But really after that, just not enough. I mean, Shohei Ohtani went to the plate with runners on second and third, and he just got under one on a fly out. That would have brought the Dodgers within 1. But look, I mean, I think the positives in this one, Jason Hayward had another good night at the plate. Andy Pages, so did Shohei Ohtani. But this Dodgers team just not impressed with just the overall presentation, like Ned Collette used to say. As far as the errors, as far as the at-bat quality, you're just not getting enough from this team at the moment. They have no business losing 10 of the last 15 games to this Pirates team. It just doesn't make any sense in the world. But then again, this is the sport we love, Major League Baseball. But let's get down to your comments here, guys. I'm going to focus on the comments here because I know you guys are bringing it down below. I'm looking for that comment of the show, looking for those fire takes. Bilal K, the Dodgers will need 2 very good position players to turn around the abysmal mid to the bottom of the order weakness that plagues this team. Matty Man 5 Dodge, they're going to be betting underdogs more often now. Roger Deere, when your weighted runs created plus and OPS plus are less than your number, you need to go to the minors. That's definitely the comment of the show so far. Fire. Eric Schultz, calm down, everyone. The LA Dodgers have the second best record in the National League. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but you only got 4 teams there with above 500 records in the National League. And yeah, look, I think for me, though, look, James Paxton, don't worry about it. Like, James Paxton, he's only going to be pitching for this team in the postseason if the Dodgers have a lot of injuries. He's a break in case of emergency postseason starter, right? He's not going to be out there for games 3, 4, 5, anything like that. At the very best, James Paxton, if everything goes right for him and he's able to perform, maybe he finds a spot in that Dodgers bullpen. And I think that's largely dependent on the health of guys like Bruce Dark-Gratterall. How will Dustin May look when he returns? Because I think he'll find a spot because his stuff is just better than James Paxton at this stage of his career. So, yeah, you need a mop-up guy. There's no doubt about that. But still, I'm not concerned about the James Paxton thing because he's been solid this season. He definitely has. But let's just call it what he is. He's a rented car. When you get a rented car, you drive it as fast as you want. You don't care about the brakes. You just drive it. You know you rented the car. You paid for the insurance. You're going to be just fine, right? You're not thinking about this guy long term. And you look at James Paxton on the season, I mean, the warning signs were there. Tonight, his ERA jumped from 3.29 to 4.19. His FIP has been 5.33, and his expected FIP has been 5.36. So anytime your FIP, you're fielding independent, right? Anytime your FIP has that big of a disparity, I mean, I think that's something that you really need to look at. Anytime your FIP is, 5.33 and your ERA is 3.29, yeah, your fielding independent pitching says a lot about you, and you're going to have some regression to the meme. Maple was leaking. That's from Waves Bland 26. They let Seager and Turner walk. Now you're in on Bichette. Hello, Mr. George. How much you pay to the next guy? Los Doyers, JP needs to go to the bullpen. We got to get the knack over Paxton. Hey, the knack attack has been pitching well. Harold, why did Paxton only go 50 pitches? The last outing worked out well for this start. Exactly. Harold, you bring up a good point. He threw 50 pitches in his last outing, and a lot of people wondered why that was. They're trying to preserve a guy that's dealt with injuries. A guy that they're just trying to get 19, 20 starts out of, right? So I don't think that, like I said, he ended up his last start against the Mets, Dodgers 10-3 win on Wednesday, May 29th. He went 3 innings, gave up no runs on 2 hits. It's interesting. Really, I think that these guys, to be in a rhythm, I think you need to preserve them less. I truly do. I think these guys are, it's not the innings, it's the max effort. It's the max effort that really dictates if they're going to go and get injured or not. I don't think it's going to be the lack of innings. I think that these guys are going to be more of pitchers that are in a rhythm. They're going out there and they're performing. Dave Roberts said, let Paxton out there to die. That's from Nando 390. Paxton is a mediocre pitcher despite his record. True story. That's from Gabriel Munoz. Mike M. If the Dodgers brought Knack up and dumped a reliever, he could have relieved Paxton in 8 innings. Yeah, look, I think that Landon Knack is a perfect number 4, number 5 type starter. And the truth about Knack is some of the same underlying statistics that indicated that James Paxton was due for some regression are the same ones that you see with Landon Knack. Landon Knack has pitched in 4 games, 20 2/3 innings of work, has posted a 2.61 ERA. Quality. That's really nice. That'll get you more starting opportunities in the show. But that FIP is at 4.63. So it wouldn't shock me to see Knack come up and have an outing where he's given up some runs, but you also get the development there too. And right now, I definitely think that Knack really, you got Bobby Miller coming back, you got Kershaw coming back. It's going to be difficult to see him getting too many more opportunities if everyone stays healthy, but I definitely think that he has earned them. We got Denny Cortez, I'm late, Trey Lux. We got, for those who don't know, the Dodgers have 5 pitchers, 3 catchers, 2 outfielders as their top 10 prospect, and their 12 prospect is Landon Knack. CJ Abrams should be our shortstop. That's from Bilal K. Look, if you can go out there and get a CJ Abrams, you do it, but you can't buy a house that's not for sale, right? And that's definitely something that could be applicable to him. And you look at C.J. Abrams on the season, I mean, he's solid. I mean, hitting 249, a 108 weighted runs created plus 9 home runs. He's still extremely young. He's just 23 years of age. I mean, won't be a free agent until 2029. So I personally don't think the Nationals want to move him right now. And if they do, it'd be for a Godfather offer. And I mean, at that price, you could start talking about Luis Robert. But I thought we need Gratterall back. That's from Frank. Carnivorous lunar activity. F the pitch clock. Bilal K. We Dodgers fans have watched the dead bats that swing for the fences and a dead manager lead us to misery postseason after postseason. Numbers don't lie. Yeah, I mean, we got Lux PR campaign losing steam. That's from Deuce. Yeah, look, you guys know how I stand. I mean, this is not Dodger State TV. And Gavin Lux did have himself a solid night. I mean, based on the year he's had, he did have an RBI. He goes 1 for 4. He has trended in the right direction. If you look at his May compared to his June, compared to his last couple of weeks. But, I mean, it might be tough for him to overcome that slow start that he did have for his overall numbers. And right now, Gavin Lux, after tonight, he ends up going 1 for 4. He's hitting 211 with a 63 weighted runs created plus. So he's 37% below league average. So look at that. Kike below league average. CT3 below league average. Gavin Lux below league average. So, yeah, and then Mookie Betts, last couple of weeks, he's hitting around 200. So you can't tell me that the rigors of the shortstop position during the game and before the game aren't going to take their toll at some point. Team is soft. That's from Chris Bailey. Sheehan is coming back at the end of 2025. Yes, he is. Josh, 7 runs shouldn't be a game changer, a problem with batters and a lineup we have. That's disappointing. Daniel Reyes. D-Mac, can I get a shout out? It's my B-Day. Happy birthday to Daniel Reyes. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you had Paul Skenes, and he ends up going 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, did allow 6 hits and 3 earned runs. And then you look at Paxton, he goes an inning and 2/3, gave up 6 runs on 6 hits, had 2 strikeouts, and threw 45 pitches. So, yeah, I think you look as a whole, the pitching matchup at the beginning kind of dictated the outcome of the game. But still, I agree with your point. I definitely agree that this Dodgers offense, they scored 6 runs, and I think really what killed them there was the runs they were able to get off of Yarbrough there in the 7th inning, those 2 runs that they were able to tack on. They also tacked on another run there in the 5th inning. So, I mean, it's tough to win a game where you give up 10 runs. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think for the most part, the bullpen held their own, but they were just kind of in a tough situation. I think you look at Banda, I mean, he had 2 strikeouts, gave up a hit, had that miscommunication with Gavin Lux that led to a run there on the pickoff attempt. And Yarbrough has been solid, but I mean, the thing about Yarbrough, he pitches like once a week. I mean, I think the usage of Yarbrough is starting to kind of take its toll a little bit on his performance. I mean, he's pitching 1 time per week, and it's usually in a long man type of role, right? 3 or 4 innings, things like that, and almost a piggyback situation. So it's interesting to see the usage of James Paxton and just kind of how they're using him. But still, I mean, anytime you're down 7-0 in a league and Paxton was just laboring the way he was, and you know that it was going to be difficult to get back into this one, it's definitely encouraging that they did make a pretty solid comeback attempt. It's kind of a little bit of a fake comeback there. And, I mean, yeah, I mean, also, too, look at one thing I want to point out, too, is you look at the big inning they had, right? They had 7 runs against James Paxton. Just one of those hits, one of the hits was a double. And that double was 78 miles per hour off the bat. So you look at that right there, and it kind of tells you that you can learn something from this Pirates team. Kind of that grit, kind of that mindset saying, look, if we're not all going to slug every single at bat, let's just generate offense and have different ways to manufacture runs. And you look at that inning right there, that was the most runs that the Dodgers had given up in an inning this entire season. So they made a game out of it. I mean, you scored 5 runs, and You mean you're able to add another one, score that 6th run, but still, it just wasn't enough. It definitely wasn't enough in this one. But let's talk about Luis. Let's do some more takes on this. We'll talk some Luis Robert here because Jeff Paxton had some interesting comments about Luis Robert and his availability. But Dodgers are a laughing stock from Nando 390. If we use up our guys now, there will be nothing left for October. That's from All For My Gain. We got Naomi Valentine. Fam is a hothead. Don't need that type of energy in this club. We've morphed into the Angels 2.0. D-Max Mama. I got to give you a shout out to that take for your username there. We have the DH in the National League now. And we still have automatic outs. Yeah, lots of black holes, man. And like I said, the positives tonight, Jason Hayward has looked really good. I mean, Mitchell at half full take is Jason Hayward is someone that is not going to be going anywhere because he plays above average defense. He plays above average in multiple positions in the outfield. And then he's an above average hitter at the plate. So I think that he is on the right side. If we want to play a quick game of buy or sell, I'm buying what I'm seeing from Jason Hayward. I'm buying what I've seen lately from Andy Pages, who's broken out of that slump. You're seeing better at-bats. You're seeing the slug combined with better at-bats. Not sure I'm buying Gavin Lux all the way at the moment. Trending in the right direction, but definitely need to see more. And I'm definitely not buying Chris Taylor for sure. We got Jonathan Nelson, lineup change is needed. Ohtani needed to bat 4th, move up Smith and Freddie. Dodgers are going to DFA Kike before CT3. I don't think that. I mean, in the back of their minds, they still think that Kike can perform in October, that Chris Taylor is valuable in October. And that's kind of what they're holding on to. Is that the right decision? I don't think so. But I think that Kike's defense, especially at third, especially in the infield and the outfield, I think it's more valuable than Chris Taylor at the moment. Putting in lefty pitchers versus the Pirates is troll AF. That's from Boom Shakalaka. Could not agree with you more. We got Ray Guzman. It's like we are tired of waiting for these guys to return. It seemed like they take a couple years. How many runners left in scoring position today? Yeah, we talked about that earlier. The Dodgers 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position during this series. 3 for 9 today, over 12 yesterday. Last 11 games hitting 196. And yeah, I mean, this game could have been an all-timer. I mean, Shohei got under one, could have made things interesting. He hits a home run. That definitely was very impressive, to say the least. I mean, just going deep on Skenes like that. But still, that blow up in the second inning really cost them. But the Dodgers got Walker Buehler on the mound tomorrow. They tried to avoid this sweep. The Dodgers haven't been swept in Pittsburgh since 2015. So let's hope that that doesn't happen because, I mean, this team should not get swept by the Pirates, who have taken 10 of their last 15. And I saw this coming. If you've been watching this post-game show, I told you that Paxton has been playing with some fire and that Paxton is someone who has had his issues with fastball command, and at some point it was going to rear its ugly head. And someone mentioned Landon Knack. Landon Knack tonight down AAA. Knack had a rough night. He ends up going 5 innings, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, had 4 walks and 3 strikeouts. So I think what really they need is everyone to be healthy. You need Walker Buehler to continue to take strides, and how about you give Tyler Glasnow a little run? But let me know. We got a super chat right here, 1999 from Josh Schuster. Our pitchers need run support badly. 7 runs shouldn't be a problem with the lineup we have. Disappointing. It's a fire take. Naomi, they're all below league average. Javier, Chris Taylor is the Mario Mendoza of the 21st century. That's a fire take, but it's kind of. I'll give you a finish him. Right there. Let's see. We got what else we got? We got using lefties in this game made no sense at all. Like, WTF was that game plan? How is nobody else calling this out? Look at the numbers. The Pirates. Yeah, I mean, that is really kind of your issue tonight. And the management, I mean, you have to give him a turn through the rotation. There's no doubt about that. But still, I think at that point, it was just more about going guys have some pretty balanced splits in a game that they thought they weren't going to win, right? You're not going to break out your high leverage guys against a team when you're trailing 7-0. But yeah, I mean, kind of the writing was definitely on the wall with this Pirates team versus the lefty. So I'll definitely give you that. So, yeah, let me know down below in the comments section. Give me your big takeaways. And also, would you want to see the Dodgers trade for Chicago White Sox outfielder, the 5-tool player, Luis Robert? We're going to do more about that tomorrow, but I just want to get your initial takes on that, because Jeff Passan of ESPN, he said that Luis Robert could be made available and that the Chicago White Sox are going to be sellers and that they're open to offers for Luis Robert. So if that's the case and they're truly open for business, what does that mean for the Dodgers? Because the thing about Luis Robert you have to understand is this. His contract, based on the kind of player he is, it's one of the best high-value contracts for any player in the league. I mean, he signed a 6-year, $50 million extension back in 2020. You're talking about an AAV in the $8 million range. So you could be getting a player that is an all-star player for a very, very affordable price because he's under team control through the 2027 season. So that's so much team control, and that means the price would be extremely high. I mean, you would have to give up multiple top 10 prospects. They might even ask for a Bobby Miller or Gavin Stone, right? Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone, and 2-3 top 10 prospects. I mean, that is how expensive it would be to acquire a Luis Robert type, just because, like I said, he's under so much team control, and he has a couple club options at the end of his deal that you're definitely going to pick up. And the question is, one, how serious are the White Sox to deal him? Because they traded Dylan Cease, right? And Dylan Cease had some team control left. Luis Robert is a whole nother story, just because, I mean, you're talking about a player who is still young. He's still pretty much, I would make the case that he's pre-prime. I mean, he's 26. He turns 27 in August. But, I mean, when he's right, I mean, you're talking about someone who is a top 20 player in Major League Baseball, a top 15 player in Major League Baseball when he's at his best. It's just, the question is, with starting pitching and pitching in general at a premium, with guys going on the injured list, feels like every single day, and going down for Tommy John surgeries every other week, do you really want to give up a lot of that pitching depth for a Luis Robert, who, like I said, you have under team control for the remainder of this year and 2025 and 2026 and 2027 at a very affordable rate with an AAV at $8.3 million. Like I said, that is a fantastic contract for any team. And the big question for Luis Robert is the injuries, is the injury history that really ails him. He's dealt with knick-knack injuries. He's dealt with hip, knee, quad, finger, calf, hip, hamstring, wrist, hand, wrist, undisclosed, hand, sprained left thumb. I mean, he's had so many injuries throughout the years that definitely is a concern. But I will point out that just last year, he did play in 145 games. He played in 145 games last season. And last year, he hit 264, hit 38 home runs, and had a 128 weighted runs created plus. This year, he's been dealing with injuries, so he's only playing 8 games, but he's gone off to a good start. 3 home runs, has a 140 weighted runs created plus. So basically, what you're getting in Luis Robert is a talented outfielder, a guy that's an all-star level hitter that could certainly push this team onto the top and give them some much-needed juice in this lineup. But let's go down below in the comments section. I mean, I want Zach G back, a letter to Santa. Yeah, for sure, right? I mean, definitely send those letters to Santa out there. Let me get some more of your comments here, guys. Down below, we got long show today. Exactly, Robert will be the Dodgers MASH squad. Here, one second here, guys. Lost you. There you go. Paxton was throwing BP and their hitters were doing what the Dodgers aren't doing. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a struggle of a night for James Paxton, a night that he is going to want to forget. There's no doubt about that. But I also still think that he's still going to serve his purpose for this team, and that is to not be someone that you're counting on in the postseason. You just want him to eat. He's a Pac-Man pitcher, man. Eat, eat innings in the postseason to not take the toll, not take up some of this mileage on some of the current guys that are in the rotation that you want to preserve and have be key cogs in a postseason run. But so a couple more of your comments here, guys, and definitely know it's a frustrating 2 games, 2 losses to the Pirates, but the Dodgers have not been this close to winning since 1988. That's from Bilal K. And have never been as close to historically great as this year. And next thing, it's not time to go Wu-Tang here. Yeah, you're talking about Wu-Tang. How about a Tribe Called Quest? Scared money don't make none. Marcos Perez, please get Adames and Yelich from the Brewers, man, and put Mookie back in right field. Hepatitis see you later. Gavin Stone, been getting lucky. I wouldn't mind if they trade him for a Luis Robert Jr. Mario says Jared Jones wants to play for LA, so that's why he went all out. He told me so when I sold him a Tesla. That's some insider stuff right there, Mario. You're the Dodger dog of the night. Raul says, has Dave hugged Taylor? Just go out and hug everyone, man. Hug everyone. Give them the standing ovation. Doesn't matter who the Dodgers get. Robert just can't manage. That's from Carl. D-Mac, I love you, D-Mac, I love my Dodgers, but we don't have any excuses right now. That's from Hallie Butt Kicker. D-Mac for general manager. That's from Professor Hamamoto. I'm going to probably... Look, I'm going to talk to Friedman pretty soon. Let's just put it that way. Bring back Lance Lynn, trade for Rooker. Yeah, of the Oakland A's. We'll talk about him tomorrow. We're going to spend a whole show on trades, so I just want to throw this in there. Fire our commentators. They're delusional. I love Oral, man. He's the best. Mookie Perg for Dodgers since they're inconsistent. Bichette, Tanner Scott, Rosarena. Diane Schroeder says, please get rid of CT3. Ray Barrios, Mariners starting rotation is better than the Dodgers. Love me some Luis Castillo. But final thoughts, walk-off shot here is... This team is better than they're performing right now. This team needs to just embrace a day like today with Paul Skenes and the Pirates and being the underdogs, right? Through the course of a 162-game regular season, you want to get up for games like this and show the world that, yeah, the goal is October, but we are going to win a ball game in June, and you just want to see crisper, more quality baseball from this Dodgers team. Positives, good night for Hayward. Ohtani looks like he's broken out of his slump. Pa has broken out of his slump. Mookie's in a slump. So you want to see this team put together better at-bats and execute with runners in scoring position and hopefully avoid a sweep. They have not been swept by the Buccos in Pittsburgh since 2015. Let's fly the Jolly Dodger tomorrow behind Walker Buehler and get back in the win column as they head up to New York for a big series against the New York Yankees. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Nation Dodgers post-game show. Be sure to comment down below. Goat Tawny so you're eligible to win our Shohei Ohtani authentic Road Gray 17 jersey. More giveaways on the way. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Thanks for subscribing to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel, the #1 Dodgers post-game show here on YouTube. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue.